Free. Now, let's see. I mean, we have seen a bit of Furai back in the day with the Inca, I want to say, and the Runic variant really taking by storm a few events. And now Hisham has found his way through it, but it is David starting things off with one of the best draw engines left in the game, Pot of Extravagance.
And I mean, Mitsurugi right now needs to adapt to the consistency hate that was addressed due to the Forbidden Limit list with a limit of Ameno Habakiri. But I think that Extravagance, trying to find those starters in order to enable your engine is the way to go.
But we start things off right away with the ritual. I mean...
And when ritual summon from hand, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean,
Okay.
as you've mentioned, Mitsurugi players had to adapt and bring up the counts of what maybe in the past were one-offs or two-offs, and now we tend to see even three of Mitsurugi ritual. So, yeah.
I mean, I feel like the deck is still good. We have seen different top players, relying on this deck this weekend. I feel like it's always scary. Like, although of course Abagiri is limited now, I think the deck has a lot of potential, especially playing it in the pure version. Like, you have a lot of different options, especially going into your side deck as well. Pot of Extravagance gives consistency. I mean, we kind of mentioned that it's going to be really a matter of how many new decks you're going to be facing. But for sure, Abagiri, it's best card of the deck.
And if you think about it, the engine is still there. If it starts, comboing off, you can still enable to manage to make a field that it's very strong, like the old days.
We see an effect Veiler in the end from Hisham, which is definitely a good choice when you're expecting to be playing against the Dracotail, and it's also pretty good against the Radiant Typhoon deck. But here, I mean, this Murakumo pretty much already makes it so that you have to discard an additional card to use it, which makes it quite costly.
And again, Mitsurugi ritual to ritual summon from the deck. And as you mentioned, we can see that now the copies of Murakumo have been maybe increased in order to deal with the consistency hit.
What do you think is the go-to rank 4 nowadays? Is it still the Gallant Granite? What are we trying to do?
I mean, still Gallant Granite for Nibiru is still a good option.
Decent, maybe fishing a couple of cards. And yeah, it is the Gallant Granite. I mean, not Fossil Dyna anymore, but here comes the Veiler. And wow, I guess Hisham really thinks that this Nibiru is detrimental to his strategy, and now he reveals to David a little bit of what he's gonna be facing. And is he maining the trap purification?
And in a deck like for hire also, it's very important to have card advantage in the hand, and Murakumo just every turn taking one more card from your hand, it's very important.
Yeah,
he's playing it in the main deck.
Yeah. I mean, to be expected in the pure version, I'd say. So this is still quite the opener from David, honestly. I'm a little bit surprised we didn't go for IP. No? Especially with Futsu.
Is there a chance that we might think that it is something with runing potential that we scared of evenly? That's why we make SP?
Maybe. I mean, what an opener from David. Also, because we can negate evenly with purification, no? But anyways, here for the joy of Ed, we start things off with this Fossil Dig. And yeah, we are gonna discard the Rex to basically prevent this Murakumo. And here comes Ed's favorite card, Miscellaneosaurus.
And Hisham right now is already with 3 cards left in the hand.
Yeah.
And now 2, since Miscellaneosaurus effect.
Tough now with the purification being activated.
That's an interesting angle, I guess.
I mean, it makes sense since you cannot interact later in the main phase 1 with the dinosaurs effect, so it makes sense to activate purification right now.
Fair enough. At the same time, I guess so. Because you can also wait and negate the Miscellaneo with it.
Yeah, but if he has already Rex in the hand...
There's Ash.
Oh, and he has Ash. Okay, now that
it makes
easier.
sense.
I mean, just everything coming David's way. I mean, this was just absolutely impressive. And yeah, I mean, this seems like a bit of a struggle. We are gonna attempt to stay in this. It's one of those cards you don't really want to open, but in this case, it's gonna work out fine.
It's like a Monster Reborn, it's okay.
Yeah.
However, Rex effect has been activated, and David, of course, chained SP Little Knight in order to interact with Rex.
In here we had the Whirlwind, which is a pretty good extender. It allows you to special summon 1 Furier from deck, and you can actually special summon 2 if your opponent controls a couple of monsters.
I mean, when the Whirlwind will be activated, we can chain prayers in order to tribute to have less monster.
Yep.
And then bring back Murakumo to destroy the field.
We are not doing it yet.
Maybe it is one of those scenarios that we wait for Murakumo to actually make a great impact.
Maybe, I mean,
his first effect.
It could also be a bit of a lack of experience, you know.
If you're not familiar with the deck, especially. I mean, I think it's been a while also since last Full Hire was played on stream. So
here it's the graveyard. It gets an additional effect, which is you can banish it instead of discarding cards for your Furiers, which is nice. And now we're gonna see a couple of chain links that just Hisham trying to draw cards, and the issue is now it's too late to pop them. So he's gonna at least get resolve them. And yeah, as you can see here, oh, okay, it is a hit. So reveals another Whirlwind, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
And now, though, at the end of this chain, David has the option to clear the field.
I think this is the moment that you need to activate prayers in order to bring back Murakumo.
Most likely. I mean, we still haven't normal summoned, which is something to keep in mind. Yeah, there is the beat, which is quite annoying. I don't know how much you can hold any longer. And oh, Magatama. Okay. Not going for the Murakumo yet. And interesting enough that we go for that because the beat has an effect that allows it to special summon once from hand.
Magatama is such a utility card. I really like.
Yeah, it's really good.
No,
going
it's
second
good.
and first.
Especially now that the deck has to readapt itself, honestly, I think it's mandatory to play it. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So now we are just going to special summon. I mean, Rafal was keeping in check Murakumo because it's a monster negation effect. But now that's not an option anymore, so we can use the Futsu to take back the Magatama for next turn, just having a lot of utility.
Yeah.
And now it's time to use this prayers.
I mean, do you really feel like David was waiting for this specific moment to bring back the Murakumo?
Yes.
Or he missed
Nah.
maybe just the opportunity before?
Nah.
I don't know.
To be honest, I think that he just waited for as a last push to activate the effect of Murakumo. However, I truly believe that it should be changed to Whirlwind in order to not give the advantage to
For sure.
Hisham.
And this is also not the last push technically, because again, now you're out of interruptions, but Hisham is not normal.
No.
So technically, I mean, you don't know what's going on, but also, let me check. I mean, I'm pretty sure Whirlwind is one.
Yeah, it's once per turn. Yes.
Otherwise, this would be a funny way, because again, you would control no monsters. But yeah, you can only use each effect once. So we do have a final normal summon.
who can access our GMX engine.
Yep. The only issue is we are stuck under Furiers. So we can only special summon Furiers for the rest of the turn. But yeah, this is one of the starters, and the reason why you mix them up, because this GMX researcher...
Habakiri can be summoned because it was not ritual summon, right?
Yeah.
Oh, can he?
Was it?
Was he ritual summoned?
I wouldn't think so as well, but...
I think it was discarded with the effect of prayers.
Yeah, and here we go for the Donner, which has been splashed in different decks throughout the past, but is much better in the pure, Furier deck, because it allows you to use the second effect as well.
Yeah, especially in the version Hisham is just, maximizing on his 4-IR cars, backed up with K9s and GMX. It's a very interesting deck list, to be fair. We talked about how the variety of the decks in our field this weekend can be, and this is definitely one of those decks that, like if you're not super familiar with it, you may be struggling, but so far here Hisham is really trying his best to navigate this field from David.
I just remember that, yes, Habakiri has been ritual summoned because we access SP Little Knight with Granite and Habakiri.
Oh yeah. Okay. Right.
And the true power of Mitsurugi is not only that it has a lot of interaction, but also their field is very difficult to deal with, right? Generating all these bodies into the field, it makes for higher, for example, deck really difficult to adapt and to manage to get all those bodies out of the field.
Yeah, and we are still not done. As you can see, we can use Rex effect from the graveyard to bring back a monster. But again, we are stuck under Furiers, so Folgo, I guess it's an option, but no, we are just gonna move to battle phase, attack over a couple of monsters. But I mean, that doesn't do much because they're just gonna be special summoned back once more, no?
Yes, and
From
we
the
have
Futsu.
a lot of interaction and follow-up in our turn.
Yeah, and here goes Folgo, which allows you to special summon one from deck. But the issue is we don't control 3 monsters with a different name. We will only control 2 right now. And yeah, Futsu can just bring those back once more. So that's why I was thinking we could have done this in main phase 1, honestly. But yeah, let's see. What's the plan?
I mean, I really feel like Hisham is trying. I know it's very complicated to deal with this this field.
This is one of the most recent cards. Is the big version of the Rex.
However, it felt like we addressed our battle phase for no reason at this point, right?
Yeah.
It might be better just to pass without entering battle phase, so SP Little Knight can be state banned, or it goes straight to the graveyard, right?
I mean,
tries to return and goes to the grave.
No, I think it stays
I think it stays there.
It just stays banished, yeah.
But still, I think it would have been better. So at least
one less interaction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and now doesn't seem like there is much hope at all, and it's still worth mentioning for the upcoming games that this card you see on the field, the new addition to the engine, is extremely relevant because one of the key weaknesses of the deck was Fuvalos. Instead, what this card says is that not once per turn, so as many times as you want, if a card is added from the deck to the opponent end and you control, you can draw a card. So basically what it means is that if you get Mulcharmid, you can set it up, and then anytime you special summon, anytime your opponent draws, you also draw. So at least, you know, you get back your own share, and that makes it for an interesting, you know, turn of events. It's pretty much the only card that does a similar thing in Yu-Gi-Oh!
It's like then comparing the hands, who has the biggest hand, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yes. Would be nice to pair it up also with. Let me see if I can show it.
And also the Gishu has been special summoned, which is...
This is the combo. With heavy slump. So you keep your own and then they only have 2 cards at the end of the day. That seems like a good deal. But this is enough. Hisham has seen the writings on the wall. Good attempt at cracking the field, but it was just too much. And I gotta say, again, we are not surprised. We've seen it over the past year. Just how much you know, the Mitsurugi variants can do when uninterrupted, and definitely one effect Veiler is not gonna get you there. No.
And I mean, as we already mentioned, the deck is still there, right? The only problem right now is the consistency issues, and that you need to find ways to access your engine. However, if you start generating advantage and, for example, activating your cards to... you like your deck books, right?
I die.
And in order to find ways to start progressing to the game state, I think the deck is still very, very scary.
No, I mean, I think it's important to understand that although Abagiri is at 1, the deck is consistent. Like I think he has a lot of good starters. I think it's like, for example, we mentioned that Radiant Typhoon is super explosive, but at the same time it lacks sometimes of consistency.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like Mitsurugi is a good choice, honestly, for the event.
it is. I think what the Forbidden Limited list did was make it so that splashing Mitsurugi is harder, because you could just, you know, put 3 Abakiri and then just maybe 1 Sagi, and that was good enough in a lot of, like in the Yami deck, for example. But the pure version, as we could see, if you just hard draw the ritual, hard draw, you know, Murakumo, you can still do a lot, and it's definitely an option that we have seen top players play this weekend. But now I think I'm really excited to see the deck, you know, of Hisham going first, and possibly see, you know, this Fuvalos into drawing 15 cards of your own interaction. Right? That would be my dream, honestly. So let's see whether that will be the case, because our duelists are pretty much done with siding. So let's jump into game 2. Here we are. I mean, Furier is also one of those decks where even Purulia is quite annoying, but we do open the trap. Let's take a look at the rest of the end. There are a lot of starters, but is there a Whirlwind?
I think this is Whirlwind, right?
Yeah,
it's a Whirlwind.
That's a good one.
I think the card that gave the advantage Hisham on the first game, as we mentioned before, it has a very interesting effect that let you You wanted Fuga here,
I
right?
wanted Fuva. I wanted to see this.
The full potential of the deck.
Yeah. And we see Ash instead
Oh, really?
on the Rex and not on the Wirewind. Fair enough, because I mean...
We maybe wanted to play around the normal summon of Rex, maybe.
Yeah. Or of the GMX starter as well, the Researcher. Here instead we do have the Rookie. And so, although the effect will still be negated, we get to special summon a level 3 Few Hour monster. So let's see if we have another monster in hand, this can get us our combo going.
I think that Hisham also has an Izuna, or not? Is that an Izuna?
I think he
on
may
the right?
be. I think he may be.
He's splashing Izuna for sure. Oh, and here comes the new Rex. Yep. So it was there. If Fuvanos would have been activated, we would have seen it, but not quite gonna be the case. Izuna can be pretty annoying, but it's gonna depend on Hisham as well, because at the moment he's not active. Basically, what you can do sometimes is you can go into the Link 2 and then banish Rex, and at that point Izuna starts being, you know, live. And I don't even know if you play around it, honestly.
We have been locked to 4 cards, no?
But from your opponent, I mean.
In your opponent.
I mean, right now David cannot use the Izuna, but I don't know if Hisham even would think about playing around Izuna. So, let's see. And there was the Rex. Okay. And yeah, here we go into Link 2. Are we gonna use the Rex?
Also, I think a new addition from the latest set. Burst of Protocol was one of those sets that really shaped up the meta.
No, it's
providing so much support to so many decks.
But if you think about it, also in the previous match we witnessed in round 2, another addition with Elf Note, for example. I mean, maybe just thinking about Burst Protocol per se, it's, I mean, it gave a lot of consistency, of course, for Radiant Typhoon, new Synchro Monsters for Dracotail, for Breeding Crown, for example, a super generic card. I feel like the set offers so much variety. And here, once again, we see Furire, which I think one of the first time we saw it on stream was years ago with Dinkabui. Once again, always piloting this combo decks, and here with the addition Rex right for hire, it's great, because especially when it's full loss is activated, then you get to draw cards. So very nice one, honestly. And I think here we'll get the chance to see Hisham playing a little bit, you know, into his combo, because it feels as though David doesn't have any interruption.
Here is the moment in which we have activated Rex, and so the Izuna becomes active, which could be a huge difference. But for now, David is not really interested. And here comes the big one, the Fogo. This could be an interesting point of interaction, honestly. I remember when Dinka was playing this deck, using Ash against him was a huge liability because of Mannequin Cat, but I don't think, you know, you were not playing sprites in this deck.
You remember that combo, eh?
Yeah, it was cool. But we're not really running those cards now, so probably we are safe. But yeah, it's gonna be a bit terrifying here. Are we gonna use the Izuna? No, okay. We just take a draw.
Hisham has an Izuna, not David.
Ah, Hisham. I thought you mentioned David as Izuna.
No.
Okay, now that makes a lot of sense. Bene. I think also David is. And yep, now we open Rayos. Discarding Urakumo.
That's a nice start.
Yep. And again, this might seem not as impressive from Hisham, but if his interruption resolve, he's able to draw a lot of cards with the Fogo.
Is there a chance that we can have... Speaking of Izuna, it has been activated from Hisham.
Yeah, with the last card in hand being Izuna, honestly, here another layer of interruption. Very powerful, honestly. David maybe not expecting it at all. Of course, now getting access to Abagiri, but no, Izuna has to resolve. Let's see. There's another Ash Blossom.
Second Ash.
That's good.
I think right now we need to decide if we value or not the Reaper in this matchup.
But also, okay, this is an important moment because we are using the Rex, which we can use in both players' turn. We are gonna set up an interruption because the Weeds, which usually was sided back in the day, allows you to negate any spell and trap. And also now we have 3 different names, which means that we can pop and draw 3, which is absolutely insane. So this is what's going to happen here soon enough. And yeah, here you see if there is the Ash has been used. Can we stop this?
So
we will not. And
you think that Izuna was probably used mostly as Ash check?
Kinda, maybe. I mean, I don't know. Again, it's up to the experience. But once Fogo resolves, it's rough. I mean, drawing 3, wow. And now the thing is, it's a huge synergy with Weeds because Weeds to negate spell and traps needs to discard cards. And we had no cards. So again, another huge interruption. This is the second effect of Whirlwind, which we mentioned. Instead of discarding for the Weeds, you can just banish it from the grave, which is very convenient. And I think it was fair to negate the ritual, definitely.
Yeah, I mean...
And now we are just going to get it back. I suppose we use the effect special from the deck? Yeah.
And I think now that we will activate effect of Mirror, and we have already Murakumo in the graveyard.
Yeah, that's good.
Let's see. This could be still brutal.
Yeah, Murakumo shielding 1, Abagiri shielding 2. Here, let's see if Hisham is reading his own trap card.
Usually, I think it destroys cards up to the number of Furiers you have, something like this. Yeah. Also, we are just gonna attempt to destroy it, and I guess, yeah, we just discard a card to make sure it resolves. Oh, we drew into Nibiru.
Oh, and by the graveyard and Rex.
I don't know about Nibiru against Mitsurugi pure though.
When you go first, it makes sense.
Be okay, yeah. So we give up on this.
Because if you think about it now, both Habakiri and Murakumo have activated the effect.
Yeah, but now we lose the whole field. So Murakumo resolves, but we have Flying Fortress, which I believe has effect to special summon 1 from deck. We are not using it. No, because we are still resolving the Murakumo. It's basically quite similar to the Yami Akruki effect. But we don't go for it. I'm pretty sure it was, yeah. If a Up Furier is destroyed...
And we have Hadron the Fuji.
Yeah. You can special summon 1.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we forgot, but... Bit of a shame. And I mean, this just shows why Mitsurugi is so powerful. I mean, Raigeki is Raigeki against any deck in Yu-Gi-Oh, you know. So no matter, even if you don't know what your opponent's deck does, there is a good chance that blowing everything is good against it.
I think that David called Battle Phase and Hisham is thinking about it, but I don't find a reason to activate Nibiru here. You give David 1 more draw, 1 more add.
Yeah, here dealing some damage. He's left with Nibiru and a monster, right? In hand. Yeah.
he has Nibiru and Rex.
Rex. Okay.
And
That's
also
why I was
he needs to
thinking-
keep cards in hand in order to activate them as
That's
for
why I
Murakumo.
honestly didn't like Nibiru. I would rather discard Nibiru and just keep call by because it can be quite useful even now against Murakumo, you know. Like if you call by the Murakumo when you play, it's really good.
I think is that how are the chances of him summoning 5 monsters? You know?
I don't know.
I mean, he has gone through,
I think 3.
and also one from Habakiri.
Yeah, 3 if not 4.
but,
yeah.
But the thing is, you are basically top decking. Even if you resolve the Nibiru, they can just search for a prayers and then go for Murakumo next turn, you know. And instead, if you can line up that call by the grave to resolve on the Murakumo, I think you are safe. So I don't know.
It was probably more of a decision to have one more defense in case
Yeah.
something goes wrong,
I know,
since
I
the
know.
field was empty at that point.
Yeah, but I guess he got a bit scared of losing the game on the spot. And now it's back to feeling tough because this Futsu is a value machine and
As we experienced in the first game, right?
yeah,
Just generating bodies on the field is really, really strong against
Yeah.
for hire.
Yeah.
And we see normal summon Purulia,
Purulia.
wow.
probably to address our rank for Xyz monsters. And we go for Baguska.
I mean, not the most effective, honestly, against Furier. They have an easy way out with the Link 2, but here is where Hisham goes for Nibiru, and I think it might be a favor to David. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
And we place Nibiru in defense, so we can just summon back Futsu in attack.
I think we have already used.
Futsu, no.
No, Battle Phase, I mean, or no?
Oh yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
I think so, no? I mean, it is what it is. We have, I think, yeah, another Rex maybe in hand, something like this.
It is Rex.
Yeah.
And also our added doesn't make a lot of sense since we are going to in either way discard it for
Yeah.
Murakumo.
Yeah,
I
this
mean-
was I was talking about. Like honestly, I think Baguska is less threatening than that Prayers. Because any monster you normal summoned would have been the Link 2, which you can just use to pop the Baguska. Or even just pop the Futsu if that's more threatening than you like.
So you just keep Nibiru and not activate.
Yeah, I mean you're a Link-based deck, I think. I don't know. But anyways, now we draw into.
I think that
Okay.
we valued a lot the add-off from Rex. That's why
Yeah.
we were frightened by Baguska.
But the thing is, you can summon Rex back with the Link. That's why you can normal summon the Rex, not use the effect. Then you link into the Link 2, pop the Link 2, and the Link 2, when it's destroyed, summons back the Rex. And the Rex, then you can, get going. So I don't know. But anyways, here we try to play back into it. We have top decked the Mayhem Furier. Yeah.
And I think that we activate Futsu targeting Murakumo in order to revive.
And I mean, this was
Here
not.
this is back. Yeah. I mean,
And the thing is, Preyes was not there, no? So if we had here Call by the Grave instead of
Would have been
Nibiru,
huge.
we would have been able
Yeah,
to
exactly,
chain it.
that's
And
it.
unfortunately, that is it from the Furier deck. Solid attempt, but it's David taking the match.
I mean, we had
Yep.
still purification for by the Graveyard.
Yeah, but I mean, it would have been quite different, I think. Probably the Mitsurugi deck still takes it. It's one of those interesting cases where we saw the Purulia being drawn after. If it would have been dropped right away, maybe it would have been actually better for the Furier deck because we had the level 5 Rex and then we could have gotten into this weird game where you draw, I draw, And anyways,
To be honest, you just wanted to see the
I
direction.
wanted to see it, absolutely. It was my dream for this match, but regardless, it was refreshing to see again yet another unique deck trying to make its way through this tournament. And regardless, down to a 2-1 record, nothing to, scrap off. But before we jump into the analysis for this match, we still have the backup future going on. So let's see what awaits us.
Oh, wow. Okay. And I see
Exorcistas.
Fuba and Purulia, I think, in the graveyard, if not double, I don't know.
Are we gonna see like those 20 cards then that I was wishing for, but for Donovan? Exorcister, another of those picks which got support as of the latest set. And again, there was a bit of that's
okay.
it. Okay,
Never
fair
mind.
enough.
Okay.
Enjoy the backup future match as we see Exorcister just briefly giving Martin a spotlight, advancing with a 3-0 record. That was quick.
Hello again.
Hello. Maybe we'll get Exorcister on the actual future match for you guys in the upcoming rounds. But yeah, I mean, it seems like for this event there is an interesting trend of decks that did well in Genesis format, which were Radiant Typhoon and, for example, Exorcister, which were not really played at the main event. And now that they receive support, plus there was, Forbidden Limited list, they actually get to compete in the main event and not in Genesis because there were updating points. So, it's nice to see this back and forth dynamic. But yeah, speaking of the match we just witnessed, I don't know, what do you guys think of Mitsurugi's chances to take the event?
To be fair, it is quite tough because the matchup against Radiant Typhoon is very difficult. You don't have a real interaction with it since you are based on monster distraction, while against Radiant Typhoon you need to address the spell and trap.
But maybe I think it's time to ask the master itself what the chances are in this event. So we have ready the winner of round 3. Leo, take it away.
Thank you, guys. I'm joined by David here, who phenomenally played the Mitsurugi versus Furhaya matchup. David, how are you feeling?
I think that was quite a difficult matchup. I didn't really know the cards I was facing off, so I tried to play the most carefully possible.
Yeah, I saw sometimes that you were reading those cards very carefully. How do you play a matchup that you don't know?
I try to play my board like I usually do. Usually that's quite enough to play versus those kind of strategy.
Yeah, I mean, luckily enough, you also got to go first. Let's take a look at the first clip of this match. Seen earlier, your opponent has Effect Veil at you, so you didn't get the Nibiru from your deck.
I thought the Nibiru is only a little bonus from for my board, so the Veiler was not a huge impact with this card.
And then you waited very long with your prayers. Why?
Yeah. I thought he's gonna probably do some link strategy, so I tried to keep as long as possible my card to not give any advantages about those play.
All right, yeah, fair enough. I mean, if you don't know what's coming, it's kind of hard to stop your opponent there as well. Let's go further into this because your opponent, Hisham, he actually fought back quite a bit there. Was there a point where you thought you would lose before you got to finish your opponent off?
Sorry, I did not understand.
Was there a point that you thought you were losing the game?
This first game, I thought I was winning all the longer. At any point, I saw my board was cracking, so I was really confident for this game.
All right, fair enough. I mean, in the end, you just swept away, right, with the Dingirsu summon there. You got to use Murakumo, destroy all those monsters, and then that's fair play. Let's now look into game 2 again. Yeah. Your opponent was starting. What were you expecting?
Honestly, I really don't know the new Furhaya cards, so I don't know what he was aiming for. But I saw his strategy was not really interested by the new cards. So I saw my opening hand with 2 Ash Blossom, and I saw maybe I can break this board with only Murakumo and Ash Blossom.
Right, yeah, and you also used the Ash Blossom not on the Whirlwind to special summon of the Rex, but the Rex.
The Whirlwind allowed to special summon one from deck, so I was thinking it was probably going to do the Rex to add another card, so I was thinking maybe the other card was the important one.
Yeah, all right, and I mean, it worked out for you. The field was not the biggest one of all times. You see this field, you don't really know what's left in the deck. You think you can break it easy, or?
I think Murakumo is really a good card to break any board, so I have got it in hand and a way to ritual summon it, so I was really confident to break this board.
So was that also the reason why you chose Mitsurugi for this tournament?
I really like the way he can go first and second into board. I really like to break board with Mitsurugi.
Yeah, I also do quite enjoy it. Was there a card like Folgo?
Yeah.
Have you played against it often before?
Folgo, I've got a friend at local who played those kind of cards, so I was a little familiar with Folgo, for example, so I know how to interact with it.
But it's just so nice to have a card like Murakumo in the deck that just can wipe away in engine everything from your opponent. Now, of course, we can also still see how you closed out that game. Were you surprised by the Nibiru?
I was quite surprised by the Nibiru. I wasn't expecting this card, that's why I do the Baguska play. But as I didn't use my Futsu this turn, the Nibiru wasn't really an issue for my board.
When you're looking at a deck like For Hire, what do you side deck against it?
I didn't really know what to side deck, so I just put some Draw and Lock birds into my deck. That's always a good card against those kind of strategy.
Okay, now, I mean, you were surprised by the For Hire engine, but you also saw in game one briefly that the GMX cards are in there.
Yeah, I was kind of familiar with those cards. I read them. I found them quite interesting by the way they work with Dinosaur Monster, for example. But I didn't really know what he is going to do with those GMX in his strategy.
Well, we did not find out in that deck. Maybe later on in the tournament we can see Hisham winning with the GMX strategy. For the moment, David, phenomenally played in a matchup that you were not expecting. Thank you so much for taking the time for the interview. Good luck for the next round. And we're going into a short break.